Like, people need to start appreciating the effort I put into not being a serial killer. Like,
it's been 3 weeks since Mohbad died, and the controversy surrounding his death has continued to unravel in new and surprising ways. Mohbad, real name Ilerioluwa Oladimeji Aloba, was born on the 8th of June 1996 in Ketu, Lagos, Nigeria. He got his first major break into the music industry when he signed a deal with Naira Marley's Marlian Records in 2019. This deal, like the proverbial deal with the devil, would lead him into a life of misery until his death. He died on the 12th of September 2023 after he went to a hospital to get an injection for an undisclosed ear infection. News of his death started to spread from a video of someone carrying his unconscious body in a car and shouting, "Mohbad is dead, Mohbad is dead." From there, the next set of information that began to spread was his very quick burial in Ikorodu, where he lived before he became a star. The speed at which he was buried raised a lot of eyebrows and gained a lot of attention quickly. The following days after his death, a video went viral showing him in the hospital saying that he believed he was poisoned or drugged by members of the Marlian movement. The next set of videos continued to show a popular Lagos show promoter called Sam Larry harassing, humiliating, violently attacking and beating the young man. It started to become clearer that Mohbad had been a victim of vicious bullying and intimidation, which affected and increased his hypertensive disposition. People all over Nigerian social media started demanding justice for Mohbad and the arrest of Naira Marley and Sam Larry. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Kola, and in this video, I will try to help you make sense of why Naira Marley may have been acting the way he does since his rise to fame, and to help you with valuable information to use to protect yourself from psychopathic predators. If you like content related to psychology of music and culture, please subscribe and like this video. Thank you. Naira Marley, real name Azeez Adesina Fashola, was born in 1991 in Lagos, Nigeria. He was born to Yoruba parents and spent his early years in Nigeria. When he was 11 years old, he relocated to the United Kingdom, settling in Peckham, South London. His educational path saw him start at Pathological before transferring to World School, where he achieved success in his GCSE. He later graduated with honours in business from Peckham Academy and extended his studies in business law at Crossways College. Naira Marley skyrocketed to fame within the Nigerian music scene thanks to his hit song Isego. This track featured collaborations from Olamide and Lil Kesh, becoming an anthem during the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia, where it was used to rally support for the Super Eagles in Nigeria. In May 2019, Naira Marley, in collaboration with Zlatan Ibile and others, faced legal trouble when the Economics and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) arrested them. This arrest stemmed from the controversial release of Naira Marley's music video titled "Am I a Yahoo Boy?". While Zlatan and others were released after 5 days, Naira Marley was remanded in custody, where he was charged with 11 counts of fraud in Lagos. In May, he pleaded not guilty and a bail hearing was set for 30th of May 2019. Finally, on the 14th of June 2019, he was granted bail upon paying 2 million naira. Soon after, he dropped his mega hit, Soapy, a song about masturbation habits of prisoners he was locked up with during his detention from the cyber fraud arrest. He would go on to have a successful and controversial career as a musician. A major aspect of his legacy as he rose to fame was how he was able to get a lot of supporters who would later call themselves Marlians, and he was their president. Marlians simply means rebels. In 2019, he formed his Marlian record label and signed Mohbad, C Black, Zinoleski, and Fabian. Throughout his years, Naira Marley has been embroiled in one controversy after the other, but as of late, he has arguably become one of the most hated people in Nigeria, following his involvement in the bullying and harassment that made life a living hell for his former signee, Mohbad. In early October 2022, Mohbad told Naira Marley of his plans to change his manager from Tunde Fashola, who was Naira Marley's brother, to someone else. In a series of tweets released by Mohbad on the 6th of October 2022, he claimed he went to Naira Marley's house alongside two people, including his new manager and a friend, to find a peaceful resolution to his management issues. During the meeting, he noticed his former manager Tunde was tense and hostile towards him, but he tried to steer the meeting towards a peaceful resolution. But as the meeting went on, Tunde became violent and started punching him. He claimed that was how the other boys in the house joined in and started beating him and his friends. In the tweets, he said Naira Marley was there and refused to stop his boys from beating them despite his pleas. He even claimed that Naira Marley coordinated some of the attacks. After they managed to escape, they had to go to a hospital to get themselves treated for the injuries they sustained during the incident. This would be the beginning of what would become constant humiliation, threats, violent attacks, and a vicious smear campaign designed to paint him as a drug addict who could not be trusted. This smear campaign of painting Mohbad as a drug addict was a major reason why, despite video evidence of violence towards him, many people refused to take action until it was too late. Naira Marley has been accused of many terrible things and has made many wonder how he could be so cruel and destructive. Many people who have worked with or have been close to him have shown signs of serious mental health deterioration. So in this video, I will explain why I believe Naira Marley may be a psychopath. I will use 9 traits of typical psychopaths to see if they fit with how he has presented himself to the world. Note, this video is not a diagnosis of Naira Marley, but a template to understand why he behaves the way he does and to educate the general public about people with such tendencies.
Like, people need to start appreciating the effort I put into not being a serial killer. Like,
1. Lack of empathy. One of the major traits of all psychopaths is a profound lack of empathy. People with this disorder may have difficulty understanding or experiencing emotions of others, which leads to a lack of care. This can result in behaviours that disregard the feelings and well-being of others, making it challenging for them to form genuine emotional connections and maintain healthy relationships. This trait is clearly evident in how Naira Marley responded to Mohbad's desire to change his former manager, Tunde, in October 2022. Instead of trying to understand Mohbad's reason and to find a peaceful solution between him and his manager, he found a way to escalate the situation until it became violent. Naira Marley and his goons will continue to send threats of violence, humiliation, and beat him up as a way to bully him to submission. He clearly didn't care about the impact his actions could have on the mental and physical health of the young man. On a broader scale, Naira Marley's music promotes a lifestyle that values disrespect, lack of manners, less than proper dressing, lust, alcoholism, drug use, crime, and a disdain for education. Basically, a recipe for a low value and an unhappy life. He didn't care about the impact what he promoted could have on the lives of his fans and followers. 2. Superficial charm. Naira Marley, before the death of Mohbad, had always had a certain charm around him. Even though he was very controversial, he was also very popular and influential to a subsect of Nigerian youths. Going through his interviews and a short documentary I found on YouTube, Naira Marley had a certain charisma with the way he spoke and carried himself. His semi-British accent sounded foreign and interesting to some Nigerians at the time when he entered into the spotlight. He entered the industry with a rebellious energy and was able to position himself as a victim of the Nigerian government when he was arrested for fraud charges. And this inflamed the anti-law enforcement sentiment a lot of young people already had. This will create a deeper connection to the public that a typical music artist will not be able to create by just creating music. His fans were crazy about him and many would go on to call themselves Malians. A cult of personality was built around him and he could do no wrong in the eyes of his followers and supporters. A significant factor that contributed to the disregard of Mohbad's plea for assistance was Naira Marley's response to the situation. He adopted a composed and indifferent demeanor when addressing the matter, even though it was evident he was being untruthful. This charismatic expression of his made him appear persuasive to a substantial portion of the audience at that time. Number 3. Grandiose sense of self. Naira Marley clearly had an inflated ego and a god complex. He truly thought he was special and deserving of power, fame, and money. He saw himself as the alpha wolf among other wolves and sheep. All psychopaths are narcissists, but not all narcissists are psychopaths. Like all psychopaths, what separates Naira Marley from a typical self-absorbed narcissist was that he didn't care about people seeing him as imperfect. He was perfectly fine with being seen as immoral or corrupt. While most narcissists care about how they are perceived, psychopaths don't obsessively care about how they are seen by the world. Naira Marley was no different. The second thing that separated him from the typical narcissist, and which was more terrifying, was that he saw himself as a predator, a master manipulator, a hunter, and a destroyer. This right here is what made him very dangerous. Number 4, pathological lying. The truth is that most people lie, some big, some small, and some are done to manage uncomfortable emotions, situations, or to prevent conflict. But there is such a thing as pathological lying, which is a psychological condition where an individual habitually lies, often without a clear reason, typically associated with underlying psychological disorders. Naira Marley was clearly a pathological liar. Everything he promised in Mohbad's contracts with Malian Records were never delivered. They were all just lies. His constant lie about how Mohbad wasn't in his right state of mind because of drugs was one of the biggest reasons why Mohbad's cry for help was ignored by the public. In all the videos he released to address the situation where Mohbad was beaten at his house in 2022, he kept repeating the idea that Mohbad was on drugs and should be dismissed. Mohbad, on the other hand, refuted these claims on his Twitter page in October 2022. In one of the tweets, he points out to the idea that Naira Marley was a vicious liar. The lie about Mohbad being on drugs was intentionally repeated over and over again to discredit him as unreliable and not to be taken seriously. This was to isolate him so Naira Marley and his goons could continue to attack the young man without much blowback. Number 5, manipulative behaviours. One of the hallmarks of psychopathy is a strong tendency to manipulate others and situations. At first, they usually appear trustworthy, but working within the inside of their minds are calculations on how to bend situations and people to their script. Their ultimate goal is control. After the death of Mohbad, it is clear that Naira Marley manipulated the young man and how the media perceived their fallout. I believe he also manipulated the narrative around his arrest in 2019 to gain sympathy and enter into the hearts of many people. Everything to him is a game about who can outsmart who. Number 6, cruelty. Psychopaths can be quite callous and mean-spirited through a range of behaviours. They often exploit others for personal gain, manipulate and deceive, emotionally abuse, isolate victims, act impulsively, resort to violence in extreme cases, financially exploit, and display predatory behaviours. This cruelty comes from a lack of empathy and a willingness to harm others for their own benefits. With the death of Mohbad, it is clear that Naira Marley revelled in cruelty. His well-orchestrated smear campaign was designed to isolate Mohbad so he could inflict violence on him, which he did multiple times. Mohbad was being exploited and wanted out, but Naira Marley didn't want to let go. A former dancer for the Malian movement called DMW claimed a few days after Mohbad's death that Naira Marley used to release his dog so that he can pursue and bite. He claimed he did it to other people a few times. Watch this next video to see how Naira Marley's dog attacked his own signee C Black and someone else.
Try, see, they slap small ones.
Even though this video may seem as if the dogs were not being released on purpose, but listening to the way they were laughing in the background, you can hear that they enjoyed the fact that the dogs were actually biting the victims. Another Malian dancer called Lil Smart claimed he left Naira Marley's label after two of his colleagues became mentally ill from the violence they encountered with the label boss. Number 7. Criminal activity. Psychopathy, like all psychological disorders, has a wide spectrum. There are mild and extreme cases. This means not all psychopaths are criminals, but some do lead a life of crime. Naira Marley was no different. On the 10th of May 2019, news broke out that Naira Marley had been arrested along 4 others in relation to advance fee fraud and other cyber-related crimes. Following his arrest, Naira Marley, in a video which surfaced online on the 11th of May 2019, had something to tell his fans about how many times he had been arrested in the past.
124 times in England, arrested, gone in the cell. You don't know nothing about me. I'm not singing love song or slow jam song. I sing a gang music from early, man, a gangster.
He claimed to have been arrested 124 times in England, which is hard to believe, I know, but there is credible evidence of Naira Marley's involvement in crime. In a report published by London news website News Shopper on the 11th of June 2014, Naira Marley, alongside 4 men, were declared wanted by the Lewisham police for crimes ranging from robbery to sexual assault on a night bus. In a mugshot, the singer, who was 19 years old at the time, was pictured dressed in a black t-shirt and a swollen left eye with a caption that read, "Aziz Fashola, 19, is wanted by the police in connection to an incident in Sowe Canal Road, New Cross, on March 5, 2014. His case with the Economics and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) on charges related to internet fraud remains unresolved to this day. Naira Marley was affiliated with the infamous No Manners gang, notorious for their involvement in brutal violence within the Peckham neighborhoods of South London. His 2022 song Violence has lyrics that paints a good picture of his criminal mindset. Even 3 of his breakout hits, Japa, Am I a Yahoo Boy, and Soapy, are about crime or show some imagery related to crime. Naira Marley is currently on the run as at the time of making this video, which is very interesting because he sang about being on the run in his 2022 song Violence,
you know I'm on the run.
and in one of his breakout hits, Japa, in 2018. He was also known to hang out with known criminals, including people like popular Lagos show promoter Sam Larry. Number 8. Lack of guilt and remorse. Throughout his controversial career, Naira Marley has been accused of spreading degenerate behaviours and negatively influencing youths, but he seems to show no remorse or guilt for his actions. Like other extreme cases of psychopathy, his lack of guilt and remorse stems from his lack of empathy. Even with the death of Mohbad, Naira Marley has vehemently denied all allegations against him. He has refused to take responsibilities for his own actions. Number 9. Irresponsibility. Psychopaths may fail to meet obligations and commitments, whether in personal, relationship, work, or financial matters. They may neglect responsibilities and avoid facing consequences. Some engage in reckless behaviours that put others in danger. Naira Marley has shown signs of irresponsibility throughout his career. From the time when he performed at 2 separate events during the height of COVID-19 pandemic, to him letting his very dangerous dogs roam freely in his compound and cause serious harm to some people who come to see him. During the height of his popularity in 2019, he promoted a lifestyle that valued lack of manners, disrespect for authority, less than proper mode of dressing, lust, alcoholism, drugs, crime, immorality, and a disdain for education, despite the fact that he has a college education himself. In 2022, Naira Marley stirred up reactions on the internet after he opened up about his desire to have sex with a mother and her daughter at the same time, despite having children of his own. Talk about irresponsibility. In conclusion, the story of Naira Marley and Mohbad is a complex one, filled with tragedy and controversy. It serves as a stark reminder of the impact that psychopathic behaviours can have on the lives of individuals and those around them. Naira Marley's journey from rising music star to a figure associated with bullying, cruelty, and controversy raises important questions about the influence of public figures in society. While we've discussed several traits that align with psychopathy, it's essential to remember that this video is not a diagnosis of Naira Marley, but a way to understand and educate the public about behaviours that can be harmful Thank you for joining me on this exploration into the psychology of Naira Marley and the lessons we can learn from his story. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content related to the psychology of music and culture. Your support helps us continue these discussions and promote awareness of important issues. Thank you.